Conservative new media viewers, JLin fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFE, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and we're here to discuss the 122-99 loss tonight for the Brooklyn Nets against the Boston Celtics in Boston, Massachusetts. Brooklyn falls to 1-4 in the preseason. Boston improves to 5-1 in the preseason. What happened in the game was that Boston really crushed Brooklyn in rebounding 55-34, and that it included a 13-8 edge in offensive rebounds. They got more shots and made more shots than Brooklyn did. They also made one more three-pointer, and they converted 8 more free throws in the game. Boston's a very good team, as we talked about several days ago in the last preseason game video, game number 4. They're very good. They're very deep, and they outplayed Brooklyn tonight, although Brooklyn was not playing full out. They were also missing Gravis Vasquez and Anthony Bennett in this game. And I thought that the second unit of Brooklyn just didn't really get a lot done tonight. And but to be fair, I thought Boston overall outplayed Brooklyn, although in the third quarter, the first unit for Brooklyn was playing against mostly the second unit of Boston, and they cut Boston's lead down to like 70-69. So there was a chance, but then again, to be fair, Boston was not playing with its first unit at that period of time. But as I said, Boston's just, they're very good. They're a team that won 50 games last year, and they're probably going to win 50 to 55 games this year. Brooklyn is not as good. Brooklyn can compete with them, though. Just tonight wasn't the night. And let's be honest, one of the things you want to do now in the preseason is you just don't want to get hurt. I mean, of course you want to play hard and you want to play well, but guys don't want to get injured, so they're not going full out. How did Jeremy do? His stat line was 13 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. He shot 5 of 7 from the field, including 1 of 3 from three-point range, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 1 steal, 4 turnovers, 4 personal fouls. Overall, I thought Jeremy played a good game. He did play a good game overall. The two things you have to be concerned with here, yes, the turnovers, which I'll talk about in a minute, and the other thing is the personal fouls. Jeremy only played 19 minutes in this game, and he had 4 fouls. It's going to be very important during the regular season for Jeremy to avoid fouls. And the reason is he has to be on the court. The team needs him to be on the court. And so sometimes he's just going to have to, just got to let the guy go rather than poking at him or whatever you want to try to do, just because the team's going to have a much lesser chance to win games if Jeremy's not playing. And so, again, this doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference tonight. I'm sure Kenny Atkinson will remind Jeremy of that, and Jeremy knows that. So he'll adjust to that. Now, the beginning of the game was pretty sloppy for both teams. And Jeremy had 3 of his 4 turnovers in like the first 6 minutes of the game. Neither team was playing full strength, like they weren't playing all out. It was kind of lazy, it was sloppy, turnovers were happening on both sides. I think Jeremy got a little bit caught up in that. After that first 6 minutes, he only had 1 turnover the rest of the game. 2 of his turnovers were aggressive turnovers. 1 was an offensive foul. He was driving. He kind of shoved the defender with his elbow to get some separation. And another one was he drove to the basket, and the ball was stripped from him, and they didn't call a foul. And I guess the ball maybe it went off Jeremy's leg. So those 2 are aggressive. He's trying to make something happen. He's trying to score. He definitely thought he was fouled on the one play that ended up being a turnover. The other 2 turnovers, one was he was running a pick and roll with Brook on the perimeter, and Brook set the pick, but the man defending the pick and roll kind of stopped Brook from moving forward. And so Jeremy ended up throwing the ball to where Brook was supposed to be. But Brook wasn't there because the man had gotten in his way. So that's just a little thing that can be fixed and adjusted. The other turnover, the fourth turnover, was Jeremy was driving to the basket. One of the defenders poked the ball away from him. Jeremy recovered the ball. He was then trapped by two Celtics. He wanted to pass the ball underneath the basket, and there was somebody breaking open, but Jeremy was a little bit off. I think the pass was a little too quick. Overall, like I said, I'm not really concerned about the turnovers. I mean, obviously, it'd be better if he didn't have 4 turnovers. I think he got caught up at the beginning of the game, and 2 of them were aggressive. The thing with Brook and the pick and roll, that's something you have to be aware, and you have to look and make sure that your man is where he's supposed to be. But also, that's something they'll get the chemistry worked out as he plays more with Brook and kind of get a better feel for what Brook's doing and where he's going to be. The 4th turnover, I just said, Jeremy, there's times he just has to, don't rush the pass. Don't rush the pass. It wasn't bad. It was kind of a broken play that got a little bit blown up. But there are times in the past where Jeremy would kind of rush things. Just slow down a little bit, make the play when you're ready to make it, and so forth. But really, that's about it. The fouls, the fouls weren't that bad. It's not like they were bad fouls. I don't remember any foul that was bad in particular. One was an offensive foul, as I mentioned, where he pushed off. Another one it was a busted play, and he basically had to go and help on someone else's man. Jeremy ended up defending it, but it was I was caught off guard, and he reached in, so that's 2 of the fouls right there. Really, that's about it. Jeremy shot 1 of 3 from three-point range, as I mentioned. The first shot was an air ball 3, and that's, again, came early in the game when just nobody was, it's like both teams weren't even interested in playing or something like that. The second 3 that he took, he missed it slightly to the right, and then the third 3, he nailed it. His form does look better. He's getting good arc on his threes. That's something I've noticed this year. He's shooting with pretty good arc, which more arc than what I think he was getting in the past. And the shot looked smooth. The last one that he took, and he hit it. Also, the second 3 that he took that he missed right was a difficult shot. He had caught the ball, and he had to step to his left and release it very quickly against a defender. One other thing I should mention about the turnover aspect for Jeremy tonight was Boston's very good at forcing turnovers. They're an excellent defensive team overall, and they were second in the NBA last year in opponent turnovers. So they get a lot of steals. They force you to lose the ball more than other teams do. So what happens is there's certain things you can't do against Boston that you can do against other teams. So you kind of have to make that adjustment. Like you might be able to get away with a certain pass against the Knicks, but you can't do it against Boston because their defense is better. Now Jeremy, for the preseason, has shot 8 of 17 on three-pointers, which is whatever. It's not far away from 50%, 40-something. So he's still shooting the ball well. He's shooting the ball well overall. He was 5 of 7, as I said, in shooting tonight. So when you look at this from a high up perspective, Jeremy played pretty well tonight. He was the second leading scorer on the team behind Sean Kilpatrick. He had the most assists on the team. Did have 5 assists along with 4 turnovers. Just had a little not into the groove moment at the start of the game, and he playing against a good defense, and that's really about it. But he was productive and pretty efficient in his time on the floor. So I think he's having a good preseason, and this really doesn't dampen that at all. Now, in terms of the Brooklyn as a whole, look, I mean, they're 1-4. Nobody's playing to win really in the preseason, or not very much. They are going to have some struggles this year. They're not as talented as Boston is, and they've played Boston twice now in the preseason. But you still can't get too. I still wouldn't get too upset about things. The main thing tonight was, I mean, it's easy to get upset because they gave up 120 points, 119, 120 points. That has been an issue. And they were very happy with last game when they only gave up 100 points. The problem is, or the truth is, this game was, it's just, guys weren't playing that hard. And even in the third quarter, I mean, it's just kind of like half speed. And Boston hit a bunch of threes, and it's hard to get too upset when guys are going at half speed and it's a game that doesn't mean anything. If this game happened during the regular season, I'd be a lot more upset. Still, we want the defense better, but let's see what things look like when we get into the regular season. Also, Brooklyn is not yet using the pick and roll a lot with Brook Lopez and Jeremy. This has been discussed in the newspapers. I think it's been mentioned by different fans as well. They're not running a lot of picks for Jeremy. They haven't run a lot of picks. That is true. Kenny Atkinson has talked about this, and what he said is, look, we don't want to rely on that. He wants to play with a motion offense, guys on the move constantly, which we've seen in these different games. And so that means, well, we'll put the pick and roll over here, and we'll bring it back once we get into the regular season, once we get into crunch time, once we really need it. But for now, we want the guys to get used to playing a different way rather than just relying on pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll. So that's something else to keep in mind. They're not even using that play yet, or they've used it very rarely in this preseason. Obviously, both Jeremy and Brook would be good at that play. So that's also something to kind of remember here. I'm a little concerned with Brooklyn's second unit. I said in the past that I thought the talent on it was pretty good, and it is. It's pretty good. And again, they were missing Gravis and Anthony Bennett tonight. So it looked pretty ineffective tonight. Second unit did, but we'll see. That's why I've said before that Gravis is really important for the team because of his passing. Honestly, Gravis could end up being like the fourth or fifth most important player on the team, in my opinion, along with Jeremy, Brook, probably also Bojan Bogdanovic, because Bojan's a really good shooter and he can score, and they're going to need his scoring. There's somebody else I'm forgetting, number 3 or number 4, but I think Gravis is probably in that top 4 because the second unit doesn't have a lot of scoring. They don't have star people who can drive and get to the hoop. Gravis is going to have to set guys up a lot. And so his health hasn't been 100%, and he's coming back from ankle surgery. He's getting closer and closer to 100%. But again, I think they're definitely going to need him so that Jeremy doesn't have to play too much, and that the second unit can get some things going for themselves in terms of offensive scoring, offensive fluidity, not just scoring. It just they looked really stagnant tonight without Gravis in there. And again, he can do that. He's an excellent passer. That's what he does. That's his calling card. So that's about it. Look, if you're a Jeremy fan, no problem. The fouls, he knows how to back off of that. That can be dealt with. I'm not really concerned about that. The turnovers, just nobody was in sync early in the game. They were literally turning it over like one turnover from Boston, one turnover from Brooklyn, one turnover from Boston, one turnover from Brooklyn. So he got caught up in that. Otherwise, I thought he played really, really well. And I think he's feeling pretty comfortable. And overall, his confidence looks good. So like I said, you do have to be more careful against a team with this level of defense. And so I did see a little bit of hesitation with Jeremy tonight on a couple passes, but I guess that's maybe not such a bad idea against a team with such great defense. So otherwise, he's doing his thing. And he 13 points in 19 minutes on 5 of 7 shooting. He'll take that every single time. So that is about it. Let's talk about the next game coming up. And this next game coming up, somebody's calling me on the phone, but they're going to have to wait until I finish this video. The next game coming up will be the final preseason game for 2016. What my guess is of what's going to happen in that game is that it will be the dress rehearsal game, meaning that it will be the game that looks the most like a regular season game. And if that's the case, then I would expect to see the starters play 25 minutes, something like that, and really more effort put into trying to win, or at least trying to be sharp as compared with what we saw tonight. That game will take place this upcoming Thursday, October the 20th. It is against the New York Knicks, who we've already faced in this preseason. And it will be in Brooklyn, New York, and it will take place at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on the East Coast of the United States. And it will be shown on NBA TV. I don't know if it's on Yes Network. I think it is. But I know it's going to be on NBA TV. And as we said, then after that, I believe that the Nets' first regular season game will be like 6 days later, on the 26th or something like that. So that is about it. Thumbs up, thumbs down, your comments below. Put in information so you can come and join the Conservative Media Facebook group if you'd like. And look, I'm interested in what you guys thought about tonight. I don't have a strong feeling about this game one way or the other. I am glad that Jeremy was good overall, and but I'm not too concerned with some of the negatives. I'm interested to see how the team will look against the Knicks, because as I said, my guess is that will be a higher effort game than what we saw tonight against Boston. Once again, I am PFV Paul at Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative Media. We strive to be the #1 JLin YouTube fan channel. Take care, hang in. Don't get too upset about these losses. As I said, they don't mean anything. These records mean zero, and everything points more towards the regular season. Take care. Hope to see you in just a couple of days.